Welcome, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us for Advocacy for Social Justice Talk Story series, where we explore organized efforts and mechanisms for social change. Today is a special treat. We're having a conversation on the Maui Historical Society with Sissy Lake-Farm. Today's session, we'll learn from Sissy Lake-Farm, who's a passionate historian and cultural advocate for an engaging conversation on Maui's rich cultural history, with years of dedication to preserving the stories of the island's people and places. Sissy will explore the heritage and challenges faced by the Maui community through the years, from ancient traditions to the modern day preservation efforts. She will share some unique insights into the island's evolution and how local history is actively being preserved for future generations. This event is part of a continued effort by the Maui Historical Society to educate the public about the island's diverse and fascinating history, emphasizing the importance of understanding and honoring the past. A little bit about our special guest speaker today. She's a well-respected historian, educator, advocate for the preservation of Hawaiian history and culture, particularly on the island of Maui. She has dedicated much of her life to understanding and sharing the rich heritage of Hawaii, often focusing on the local stories, traditions, and historical landmarks that shape identity of the islands today. She's known for her work with the Maui Historical Society, where she plays a key role in curating and promoting the historical narratives of the region. Her efforts are deeply rooted in a respect for Hawaiian culture and a desire to preserve these stories for future generations. Uh, Sissy, or Kumu Sissy, as some folks know her, is also a passionate speaker and educator, often engaging with local communities, schools, and cultural organizations to promote historical awareness. Through her work, she strives to ensure that both the local and Hawaiian community and the visitors to the islands gain a deeper understanding of Maui's unique cultural legacy. Her approach to historical preservation goes beyond just the academic or archival aspects. She focuses on the living, evolving culture of the Hawaiian people, including how traditions have adapted to contemporary life and how new generations are keeping these traditions alive. So it is really an honor and a treat to be with you here today, Sissy. So thank you so much for your time today and for uh, going on this journey where we'll be learning from you and together with our community that's joined us today. Um, but without further ado, I have a couple of questions here, and I know our audience will have plenty more that they'll be adding on. So really looking forward to it. Um, might you just provide a little bit, a little background on Hawaiian history and culture, and what do you consider to be some of the most significant historical events that have shaped Maui's identity today?
Mahalo. Thank you, Jose. Aloha mai, everyone. It's so nice to see you all. I just want to say, first of all, mahalo to Jose for creating this platform and for all of you for coming today. Again, just a short sort of introduction, and Jose did a beautiful job of saying who I was, but I do want to at first just acknowledge who I am in terms of coming originally. My Onehana, or my place of birth, is actually on the island of Oahu. My parents are John and Keola Lake. My mother being from Hilo, Hawaii, my father actually being from Maui. So that is my beautiful connectivity to Maui. I've been a resident of Maui for 25 years now. I moved here back in 2000. So again, my birthplace is Oahu, but because of my dad and his pilina and his mo'okuauhau, or genealogy, I pay tribute and honor to my kupuna and my ancestors of Maui. So in terms of the question, I want to make sure I remember the question. You were asking about the historical context in terms of what laid the framework of our amazing Maui. Man, that's a loaded question. It's a wonderful question, but it is loaded depending on how we, the way we look. I mean, for me personally, the migration of the Hawaiian Islands, and it depends on who you talk to. There are different understandings of that. But when our ancestors got here, and specifically Maui, we have a rich tradition of ali'i. So families, mo'okuauhau generations, not only our ali'i, or our chiefly people and class, but also the common people of our ancestors made up such a rich tradition here in Maui. It goes way back. I mean, we're talking, yeah, long time ago. I won't even just start with a date, right? I can speak specifically to certain ali'i, like when we talk of Pi'ilani, we're talking about the 1500s. The grandchild of Pi'ilani is Kamal Alavalu. So you kind of get where I'm going. Like Ikava Kahiko, what we know as ancient history. Yeah, not only in Maui, but in all of Hawaii. But they are very amazing people that have put together and have illustrated our amazing Maui history. Certain chiefs, certain families. We'll start there. Okay. Now, my kuleana here at the Maui Historical Society is to steward and care for a beautiful place that we know as Haleho Ike Ike at the Bailey House, right here on the foot of Iao Valley in a place called Wailuku. Um, if I'm going along those lines and that direction, um, they before this became a historical site of a missionary home in 1832, we go back way back before that with some of these different ali'i I spoke of earlier. And I'll speak of more recent or more current to ali'i Kahekiliahu Manu. Kahekiliahu Manu, he's considered Kahekili the second, had actually resided in this area that I take care of. And his kuleana was to safeguard Maui, right? At his during his time. And we're talking like this is the late 1700s that I'm talking about now. Now, Pi'ilani, Kamala, Lavalu, these are, predecessors of Kahikiliahu Manu. Anyway, so he resided on these beautiful grounds, and the area that it's known as is Pohaku Kohi is the actual area that that the structure currently lives on. Okay. So again, I hope I'm hitting the targets, Jose, but again, I can only speak right now, I'm only speaking of the importance of where I care for and that rich historical different times and people that helped us to get to where we are today. So Kahikiliahu Manu, again, he resided here with his ohua, his retainers, his entourage, if you'd like to call it in English terms, also his family. Now, this place sits at the foot of Iao Valley. And so, as we know, various civil battles, as well as battles that happen with different moku, whether Oahu, Kauai, Hawaii Island. And so the biggest one that we know of in history, not the only, but one of the most iconic and known for Iao is the Battle of Kepanivai. And so again, Kahekiliahu Manu resided here, and it wasn't just by chance that he was at the foot of Iao Valley. Iao Valley serves as the resource of water from Pu'uhuhui or Mauna Kahalavai, which at today's standards is considered the third wettest area in the world, I believe. It used to be first, but we got knocked out. Don't ask me by whom, but very wet. Okay, so from this mountain comes down the four waterways that are famously known as Navai'eha. So we have Waikapu, Wailuku, Wai'ehu, and Waihe'e. So rich in vai, in water. Yeah, so where there's water, there's the ability to grow, yeah, vegetation, agriculture. And so Wailuku was known for its lo'i, yeah, its kalo patches. So again, I can go down a rabbit hole, yeah. So I'm going to try my best to keep them short because I know you have other questions. But again, Kahikiliahu Manu, Battle of Kepanivai, the first wave of missionaries that came back in the early 1800s. Reverend Jonathan Green came onto this Aina land and built this particular hale that we know as Haleho Ike Ike. Edward Bailey and his family resided here as Humu or teachers of what we formerly known as the Wailuku Female Seminary. And so a place where Hawaiian women from different islands, not just Maui, were able to come and learn um, Hawaiian, English, domesticated things, and had an ability to learn more than just their own cultural identity as Hawaiians, but to be able to expound on things that were introduced to our missionary culture. Um, yeah, that's as far as I can go, I think, with that question. Again, we can
I
all the way up to present
you
day,
did
but
a beautiful job and beyond.
get warm up to
There,
get warmed up.
so one, I just have to commend you on just being a wonderful storyteller. Everything that I said in your bio, you just proved in answering that one question. And I think for folks who are wa listening to this now or listening to this later, I think this is just a sample of what they would expect if they went to, you know, to if they visited MHS, and whether they took a tour, whether they got to know you, some of your staff, the volunteers. I know in my experience, it's been exactly that. It's been a very enriching experience to connect and to see those bridges of how, you know, historical events connect till today and how they're still impacted. And so, and thank you so much for weaving a little bit into as well well, you didn't talk so much about the mission so much, but about the history of the Bailey House and what it was and how it's evolved. But maybe you can go a little bit more, if you don't mind, sharing a little bit about the mission of Maui Historical Society and how has it evolved over the years.
Yeah, so again, my I've been very lucky and blessed to be here for the last 11 years. My tenure here as the executive director started back in 2014, but this is something that has been around for a very long time. Again, 1832 is when the structure was actually built, the mission home here. It's gone through all kinds of iterations, through wars, through various, the plantation era coming in and that, sugar, pineapple having an effect on its life. But to be very honest, the Maui Historical Society came from the desire of a women's club. And many of these women were not only missionaries. There was an influence, I'm sure, of flux of both Hawaiian but missionary women and later plantation influence. But the idea of the Women's Club before it became the Maui Historical Society was the importance of gathering information and history and culture. Yeah, and making sure that we didn't lose sight of the things that made Maui Maui. And so again, the house itself, again, built in 1832, but in 1957 was taken by the Maui Historical Society and turned into a museum. And so again, our rich ability to be a museum. Haleho Ike Ike translates to the house of display. So many of the items that were put on display and at that time were gathered from various private collections, some other museums, some smaller family collections. There's a huge array of things that came into play. But the basic purpose of the Maui Historical Society was to protect and preserve the rich culture and history of Maui. And so in today's understanding, there are many other, organizations that have kind of started there and offshoot, like for instance, Lahaina Restoration Foundation. We kind of serve as an umbrella, but there are many other groups in Maui and the county of Maui that help specialize in certain things. So anything on the west side of our island, Lahaina Restoration Foundation. Our rich military history, the Nisei veterans. We have a rich collection in Hana, so there's a Hana Cultural Center. We also have, County of Maui, so we have Lanai and Molokai, so they have their own stories and things, but it started from us here in Maui Historical Society, and then everything sort of went out into more specific areas of understanding. Um, And so again, me only 11 years, but what I do have to say in reference to my personal connectivity to this place, I've always said this from the beginning of my tenure. To me, it is not a job. It is my ancestral kuleana. Now, not everybody has the privilege of saying that. I'm very blessed to be able to say that. My ancestor comes from Kahekiliahu Manu. But I'll be very honest, it wasn't until this 11-year tenure that I was able to peel back my mo'okuauhau and really look like, oh yeah, I'm over here taking care of this kuleana. But when I started to talk to my kupuna, realizing that, I think my ancestors were telling me that I had to come over here and take care of this kuleana. And so the work that I do here is not by chance. I don't look at it as just a fluke. And it's very rooted in who I am personally, but the importance of being able to continue the message, the importance of our cultural and historical identity here in Maui. Okay.
No, thank you. Thank you so much. I'm loving all this. Um, might you share just so and thank you so much for providing a background on what Hale o Ike means, because I think that itself speaks to the evolution of the space that you're in. Might you share some of the biggest challenges MHS or the Maui Historical Society has faced in terms of preserving Maui's history and culture?
Yeah, we are a nonprofit, 501(c)(3) status. And I think some of the biggest things and challenges is just to keep history on people's minds. We have avid, passionate people that are history buffs and love everything culturally about Maui, and that's wonderful. But we constantly have to reiterate to people of its importance and make it in a fun way, in a desirable way too. So it's the constant plea and outreach to the community and people beyond our shores too, not just here in Maui, but clear across the international, nationally and internationally. We are a small little nonprofit in a small little museum, but I always say this: we pack a big punch because we have a big kuleana and a big history to be able to steward and care for. And our big focus has always been education, and again, we're always learning, yeah, whether it's the little ones, the kamali'i that are, the little ones all the way up to those that are opio, yeah, teenagers, youth, into makua, parents, and then our kupuna, our elders. So it runs the gamut in terms of student or the desire to learn more, right? And so keeping everyone on all sort of platforms or all walks of life, giving everyone an opportunity to understand the importance of the mission that we serve. Some of the other things that we struggle with but are challenging is funding, you know, um, having enough people here to help write grants, understanding our mission and making all the grant cycles. It's not easy, We have writers. There's an ebb and flow. People come, we're doing great, and then people have to go. And that's okay. We have a small staff, but we also have an amazing staff of volunteers. And as you know, with volunteers, we love our volunteers. That's the heartbeat of who we are. But people come and go. So there's this constant transition that we face. Yeah. So funding, yeah, not we have admission sales for those that come and visit us in the museum. We have wonderful educational tours for children here on Maui and abroad. We've had other students come from various islands, so that we have a rich and robust, I think, educational program, not only limited to the little ones. We've got all, from K through 12 and then into higher learning as well. So we try to, be afforded to all. And then, oh shucks, I lost my thought where I was going with this. funding. Oh, I know. We also have a very wonderful membership program that has kind of been under the works. We're kind of re-updating it and sort of elevating it, but membership, having people come in and be committed to the work that we do by doing an annual membership. And so that's something that we continually need to have support in. Sponsorships, donations. Yeah, sky's the limit. As you know, some of you know, a 501(c)(3) is challenging. It can be. It can be, it's fruitful and exciting for the work that we do, but it has its own challenges. I hope I answered the question, Jose.
No, no, most definitely. Thank you so much. And for folks listening in, just to, especially during these times, and I think in general, most nonprofits could not operate with donations. You can go to mauimuseum.org/donate. We'll also put it in the summary of this recording on YouTube. And then you can also go to mauimuseum.org/membership to learn more about their memberships and ways you can kind of get connected. So thank you so much for just everything you do and connecting with so many different aspects of the community to be able to be a steward of the history and preservation. Um, might you share a little bit about maybe a memorable or unexpected discovery that you may have made during your work with the Maui Historical Society? Now that you've 11 years,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
I would love to. It's actually one that happened very recently. To be honest, we do have an influx of donations that come in, and we have a volunteer archive team that helps us sort of manage the things that are the ebb and flow of things that are coming in that, again, caretaking items that are within our collection, and some things sometimes don't fit or have sort of, needs to be cycled out. Like maybe it doesn't, when it was taken in, it wasn't really at that point in time honoring our mission. So we have to go through a what's called a de-accession process, which our team cares for. Anyway, getting back to my recent discovery, which was, yeah. Um, so we had a group of a family come in last week, Tuesday, and they had brought with them a collection of old newspapers from the Maui News. And this is back in the early 1900s. So something, I guess, maybe their kupuna had. I didn't personally get to take in the item. One of our volunteers did, and so I'm catching this secondhand, right? So anyway, the items came in. There's a deed of gift process that we go through. They signed the deed of gift. They had brought it from wherever they were traveling from, and they wanted to leave it with us. So what our archive team looked over it, and it was Maui news articles from the early 1900s. Majority of those items were going to go to Lahaina because that's Lahaina based news. So we're like, okay, so we know it's going to probably go off to LRF, but there was one piece of information that was Wailuku centric. And so when my team is usually here on Friday, so they're both Holly and Anita. And so I was talking to Holly, and Holly brought that Maui News 1920s newspaper out. And she said, Sissy, here, take a look. And she opened it like this, right? And she opened it like this. And as she opened it, on the edges of the paper, as a kid, I remember seeing a picture of my kupuna with that same frame. And then I went, I would gasp, yeah. And then she opened it up, and then I screamed. I screamed. Yeah. And then where she was all startled, said, "Whoa, what's wrong?" And then Anita, who was in the back archives, came running out. Are you guys okay? If is everything okay? And here I am, like, it was my great grandfather, Charles Lake, in this article. And I had, as a kid now, I think I originally saw this document, or the picture that this was the original document that we had now, that picture I saw when I was like 6 years old came from. And then I was just floored. I was like, oh my God, like, and so had to kind of calm everybody down. And then but just again, the beauty, my own personal experience of the beauty of history and culture. Yeah. So this was a newspaper honoring my great grandfather, Charles Lake, who at that time was the supervisor of the County of Maui Committee. And this was 1926 now. And so again, that was my most recent, like, oh my God, moment. But I've had a few, since previously. But I thought since that one was so fresh and on my mind, I had to share it with you folks. Yeah.
Thank you. That's amazing. Talk about, you talk about your heritage and connecting it to that's thank you. Thank you for sharing that. We're getting a couple questions from our audience. I just want to be respectful of those. One quick one that started at the very beginning that I just see. They're on the continent and they're hoping to hopefully through this process learn about ways to get involved with the Maui Historical Society. I know one of the things there's gonna be more of these virtual sessions, especially for members only. So that's definitely one way, but I'll leave it up to you if you have other ideas. You know, if you want to share some, I know for some folks that are not on Maui itself, there's some annual events that folks can look forward to. Maybe if they do want to take a trip, a little vacation to Maui and partake in it. But turn it over to you.
Yeah, so we do have currently two signature events that we care for. And in January, we honor the Mu'umu'u. And so we have the Mu'umu'u Month initiative that was put into effect, I believe, a few years back. But the reason why I'd like to speak about this one specifically is we were so lucky a few years back. To have one of our former docents. Her name is Agnes Turau Guyala. She was a former teacher over at Maui High School, the one in Kahului, not in Hamakuapoko, or where it was originally. Anyway, Auntie had a pet project that she was doing for something like 18 years, and she loved fashion and learning and investigating and researching about Hawaiian fashion specifically. And so while she was being a docent for us here, she was working on that project. And at what point in time, and I think this was like 2018, 2019, she came to me in my office and she said, Sissy, you know what? I'm working on this project. I feel like I like scrap them. I'm like, what? I was like, wait, Auntie, wait. Okay, wait. Back up. What is the project? I'm like, you scrapped something. Like, wait, what are you talking about? And so she brought out this, manuscript of all these notes, 18 years of the rich historical information about the Holoku and the Mu'umu'u. So once she brought it, I was like, oh, Auntie, I'm so sorry. You coming to me, you put me on alert. You know can scrap them. You cannot. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Auntie. You're talking to the ED of MHS. Like, no can. She's okay. Well, what you gonna do to help me? Come on, what we gonna do? So we had a pool of volunteers. They took time. We all took time. Yeah, she gave us chapters, and we all had to go edit with our red pen. Yeah, we did that for about a year and a half. And then we helped her. Well, she, of course, published it and got it out to the public. And in 2020, I promised her, I said, hey, we're going to do an exhibition all about Mu'umu'u, Holoku. We're going to take you through the chronological order of how it started from times of old Hawaii, leading up to the mission, coming of the missionaries, then to our ali'i, and then to present day. Okay, so wait, hold on. I'm gonna bring the book because I like make sure you see it. Okay, this is her book. Oh, sorry, I don't know if I don't know. Oh, there we go. Can we see that? Oh, there we go. Okay, so anyway, sorry. It is currently out of print. Um, she did two mass orders and then it all went out of print. Anyway, but we're in the process of trying to get it reprinted. And so getting back to mu'umu'u, that's why we love doing the mu'umu'u, because we kind of have skin in the game with this book. And Auntie, if you you might check eBay for now or check around at I don't know. I don't know. It's a huge, beautiful resource. If and when that particular book comes back online from us, you guys will be the first to know. But that's why Mu'umu'u is a signature event for us. So when we launched it in 2020, we were going to start the exhibition and the launch of her book in March of 2020. And you all know what happened in March of 2020. Everything went down with COVID. So what we had to do is we took her exhibit and her interview and the book, and we did everything virtually. That's all we could do. So we were able to provide everyone just a virtual look at what was for us. And again, now every year since then, we honor the Mu'umu'u every January. And right now, every year so far, Auntie comes and she tells us her mana'o. We just had, Auntie Kathy, I see you over there. We just had a wonderful event back in January. It was the last weekend in January. Auntie Millie came. We had a lovely talk story with her. We had a small panel of mu'u enthusiasts and fashion designers that could speak on the topic. And 75 people showed up. We were so excited. They all came dressed in their finery with their beautiful mu'u mu'u, and we had a beautiful time together. So again, here we are, right? Something historically that has value for our culture and our rich history that we're elevating, right? And our community is also getting involved and elevating that initiative. So mahalo to those that were there. And just a small tidbit, Auntie's coming back for our Lay Day Heritage Festival. She's gonna do a little sarong exhibit for May 1st. So just so you know, that's the other signature event we do on May 1st. Every May 1st, this year will be 10 years, we have what's called the Lay Day Heritage Festival. It's a day where we come together, we make lei, we give lei, and make lei, give lei, wear a lei. Yeah, and so I know growing up in Hawaii, May Day was always a time of celebration, honoring our Hawaiian culture, but also honoring all the other people that make up our beautiful Hawaii. Yeah, and so as kids, we would have recitals or, like dances that we would do. And so for me, when I first came to the Maui Historical Society, I asked everybody, what does everybody do for May Day? And then they said, oh, the hotels do this and that. The schools have different functions, but it's never on the first. It's throughout the month of May. And so I said, okay, that's it. We're gonna go and wrangle that important festival. And now, in the recent past, we've got some naysayers about, well, May 1st, Don Blanding, this visiting Malihini came and created this event. But the beautiful thing about it is, yes, this beautiful Malihini came from away. Notice how beautiful we treasured our lay giving and the importance of the culture. And now it's a thing. And for years, I can only speak for myself, but for years, that has been a source of joy, on a holiday that brings forth more about who we are as a people. So that hence the opening and the love for Lei Day Heritage Festival. So on that May 1st day, we have everyone come, local and Malihini alike, and we do music, we do hula dance, we do various cultural things from like lei making. Of course, lei making, we have a couple stations for the lei making. We do like poi pounding, we do kapa or ohe kapala, various cultural our artisans come and they're with us on that day. We get parking from our churches, like Kahumanu Church, congregation, Wailuku Union. They all let us borrow their parking on that day because it can be as little as 500 to 700 people. I think our biggest event was 2,500 people. And this is over the course of 5 or 6 hours. Yeah. So people come and go. Yeah. So our two main signature events. So
Thank
sorry.
you.
That was long-winded. Yeah, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no, not at all. I'm actually going to quickly just show a couple photos. So this is the image of
Oh, thank
the
you,
book.
José.
So
Yay!
I found, yeah, Hawaiian women's fashions, kapa, cotton, and silk. And for folks viewing in, definitely once it gets reprinted, I'm assuming it'll be available on the MHS gift shop and online as well, so folks can learn further. And then I also, you talked about your recent event that happened, and I recall that there was some posts on Instagram about it. So here's just some images of, I think you had like 60 or so folks from the community coming together so there definitely, yeah, a lot of wonderful events that are happening. I know there is some conversation in our chat about folks really wanting to get involved. What I'm going to let folks know is please add or you can send your email privately to me in the chat and we can send that out to there is a communications and membership committee which will be more than happy to follow up and but some of the earlier conversations as I'm aware is yes having these for today's session, it's open to everyone, but definitely future sessions related to MHS will be members only. And for folks who want to join, they can just buy a membership for as low as $25, I believe. And so yeah, so there's questions about whether it'll be on YouTube or Zoom. I think it'll be a little bit of both and where the recordings can be found later on. But yes, we do, following up with that, we have someone in the audience who, well, a couple things actually. So I'll go in the order. There's a lot of wonderful people in our community here today. Someone talked about, are you going back to some of the history that you talked about, saying that the Bailey House was the home of the great Chief Kahekili, the one who later invaded Oahu and died in Waikiki. So they're asking, so the house was the site of
Not
a
the
palace
house,
compound?
not the house, the
The
Aina, the land.
the
So the
land,
house
the
came
land.
later.
Okay.
The land that the house is on was the royal compound, yes, of Kahiki.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So the house was built later in, again, 1832. But yeah, the Aina that it sits on, that's yeah, the land that it sits on is where we go back to our ali'i. Yeah. I hope that clears it up. Sorry if I got that.
Yeah, no. Thank you so much for that clarity. And we have some folks who have there's someone here who has a background in preservation, but unfortunately could not travel to Maui. So if there's a way to be able to assist, I know that there's a very extensive volunteer program through MHS, and like most organizations, you probably wouldn't be able to function without, folks volunteering their time, and we're very gracious for folks who do that. But yeah, I don't know if you want to share anything about volunteer opportunities. I know there's always the creativity for folks who can't physically be there. You can, yes, I think the fact that people are willing to donate their time is first just appreciated. So,
Yeah, so we do have a growing and wonderful volunteer team, but we're always looking for volunteers. The other way you can serve, and again, for those that are, not necessarily here on Maui, there is still opportunities. Like for instance, for this, this virtual opportunity for us to talk story through Jose. We have various committees that are have been established, and so specifically like historic preservation. We have a membership, various, our board cares for particular, disciplines. And one in particular is historic preservation. And so, there's opportunity to do meetings with, virtual connectivity. It doesn't have to, it's not like you're sitting here in the archives. You could be coming in from wherever and then still giving your insight or information into the committee work. Yeah, so there's definitely opportunity for that, which is exciting. And not just historic preservation. I mean, we have programming, we have a finance committee. Yeah, there's some seven standing committees that we have established that help to feed into the organization and care. Yeah, care for the organization besides me and my staff. So yeah.
Thank you so much. I'm really enjoying the energy from the community here and just
Right.
natural just love and yeah. One question that came up, what projects have been done to address the rebuilding and historic preservation after the Maui fire? And how are those involved in these projects working to ensure that the Native Hawaiian slash Mauian history is being preserved and that rebuilding preservation honors the history?
Okay, mahalo for that. We are currently in the process of planning for our a new archive building. And so we were able to receive a grant through the Office of Economic Development here in the County of Maui for $150,000, which kind of allowed us to just get ourselves going uh, in that way. We got an architect and team to help put renderings together, figure out where on our property we could potentially put this new building. It had to be ADA compliant, figuring out it because we currently have an archive, but we're busting out of the seams, and it's something that was built through the MHS and the board previously to just make it fit within the four walls that we have here. But with the need and understanding of preservation and history and the things that are coming to us almost weekly, we have to figure out our next steps. So we are currently on the verge of starting a capital campaign for this new structure that will be on our campus. But not only that, I mean, we also understand the importance of shoring up what's here. 1832, it's the oldest structure of its kind here in Maui. It's not easy to malama and care for. So what do we need to do to take care of that so that the current campus is all good, because we can't do anything else until the things that are here now are cared for, and then getting into what it will take in order to build a new facility that will be here to malama and care for the items that we do have, but it's going to allow us to open up our possibility of receiving other items, and have more room and systems in place to be better at what we do. Yeah, I hope that helps. Yeah, it's kind of where we're at. It's going to be a very large capital campaign. We're hoping to be able to do it within the next 4 to 5 years, but we got it at least started. We have the plans, we have the team, and we have some demolition items that need to be taken care of in order for our campus and the area that we want to have this building be built ready. Yeah, and then we gotta go, go, go. Ho'oulu ike kala, raise money. Yeah. So thank you for that question.
Thank you. And it's just skimming through some of the comments. We have someone from UH Maui College. They do live productions and they're happy to have further conversations about, if you ever want to do a Zoom live stream. I'm loving all the energy and looks like there's some future wonderful collaborations in the works here, and some other wonderful folks that we'll be following up with. But getting back to, I guess we've kind of covered a little bit of this, but I don't know if there's additional things that you might want to add as it relates to a question about how can residents or visitors get involved in the preservation of local history?
Yeah, for residents, if you have time to come in and volunteer, if you have an interest in archives, our teams are small and mighty, but we're always looking for people interested, and even if you're maybe you have, questions about it, you're not quite sure, but you want to come and check it out and stuff. Yeah, we would love that. We love that and appreciate that for those that are here. I mean, those that aren't, or if those that put Maui on your traveling plan, you know. The signature events are anchor events. So if you're able to put it along, you know, what's going on for us personally, right now, those are the two featured signature events, but not limited to. We're very much open to, we're looking at potential book launches and signings. We used to have a very avid and wonderful music, what we call the Moonlight Mele. We did Moonlight Mele for years. It was alakaid and brought forth by Uncle George Kahumoku. And we would also pair with Uncle Keola Donahue over at the UH Maui um, College with the Hawaiian Music Institute. So Uncle George, Uncle Keola, you would band together, and once a month during the full moon, we would have them come. So the students at UH Maui would come and have a segment, and then we would have a visiting special artist in one segment, and then we would close out the evening with Uncle George Kahumoku. Now, to be honest, we were trying to get, after COVID, we were trying to get it reignited, and then wildfire happened. So we haven't quite gotten back on the horse yet, but I'm hopeful. Yeah, hopeful that we're talking about it. Hopefully we can manifest it and get it back on track. But what I can speak of is that the Lahaina Restoration Foundation has a very beautiful Hawaiian music program that they've been doing for years. And after what had happened in August of 2023, they couldn't stand it up. So we said, we'll stand it up. You know, come here. I know Lahaina families got to come out to Wailuku, you know, but we'll stand it up for the duration of the grant or whatever time, or until you can get yourself back into Lahaina. And so I think for the last part of 2024, we were doing once a month the Lahaina Music Fest. Yeah, that they would have different musicians come in, and then our Lahaina community, and not limited to only Lahaina, we would have a beautiful evening of just music. But Theo Morrison, yeah, who is our ED over at LRF, was able to find a space back in Lahaina. So in 2025, she was able to go back. So I mean, and that's what we want to do is support and you know, our sister museums or, you know, collaborative efforts. You know, want to make sure everybody's doing good and okay. So
No, thank you. Thank you so
thank
much.
you for everybody's love. Mahalo.
Um, well, we have about 10 minutes. I just want to be, in case anybody has any additional questions, please feel free to add them to the chat. It has really been quite a treat to learn further from you about, and I know there's so much more that we can learn through our conversations together. Maybe I'll have one additional question while folks kind of put stuff down, but how do you see the future of Maui's historical preservation efforts, especially as new generations of locals and visitors engage in the island's heritage?
I think it's so important for the people that are here. You know, we have a rich tradition with the descendants of Edward Bailey, who are very much a part of it, as well as, you know, those that have connectivity like myself from yeah, Ikavaka. All of it is important. Or if you just stepped on foot into Maui yesterday, you know what I mean? Understanding where you're going to be living or the history of a particular area, whether you're right from here in Maui or you're clear across from the other side of the world, if you're going to take part in Maui and being here, my suggestion is always to get a sense of what was, or you know, what made this place so important from times of old to our missionary time to our monarchical ali'i time, plantation till now. And so our big push is always education. And again, from the littles all the way up to the kupuna, it's so important for us to speak on behalf of history, culture, specifically of Maui. And so I'll share with all of you, so gladly, we have the EAO school middle schoolers, the entire sixth grade class. I had 100 of them come yesterday. I have 100 of them coming tomorrow. And that right there. And again, we have a small gang of volunteers and staff, but it's that important. We figure it out. We need those young ones to come and understand that this place is here for them. Yes, we have the Malihini that come, and we want to be able to share our Maui with them. But these are the children that are living down the road or, in our communities. And we always foster that, at some point in time during your educational journey, you might have to come and see Auntie and her staff. So if you do, come. And we garner kids that love it, that want to be history buffs, want to know about Hawaiian culture. What can I do, Auntie? You know, go get a degree in museum science or history, whatever. Like, but we want to plant those seeds in them now so that they can see the importance of what it is to them and their community and that they're a part of the bridge. Yeah, we have to take the baton and pass them, right? We have to take that baton and pass it so they understand the importance of that they have a role in carrying on this rich history. And so, yeah, having 200, sixth graders in our facility, it's a lot, but it's it's so fruitful, you know? It's so, so fruitful. Yeah. So that's yesterday we had 100 and tomorrow we get another 100. So exciting. Exciting work.
Never a dull moment, it sounds like. And thank you so much for just the modeling and because I always love talking about how important it is to um whether we want to be a role model or not, we are. There's always someone watching. And especially youth just love to like observe and just so yeah, why not start them early and get them to get to know a little bit about Maui's history and be appreciative and also learn about preserving it even further. So thank you for doing that and instilling in that in sixth graders and 200 of them in just a couple days. That's amazing. Well, I just want to thank you so much for, being your time today. Special, just want to say special thank you, sharing your insights and passion about preserving Hawaiian heritage. Just you have an amazing dedication to storytelling, education, cultural preservation. It's really inspiring. It's clear that the work you're doing is going to be leaving a lasting impact on both the local community and those who visit the islands. And um, I think today's session just showed me also just from our audience that showed up here today, and just the love and respect and community building and people wanting to offer. I think that that speaks. It's more than words, just it's not just your 11 years, it's the history of this place and so it's a passion to be here. And thank you everyone for joining us today for this conversation. It's deepened hopefully a bit of a more understanding about Maui beyond what we see in the news. I think it's always good to kind of shift our mindsets and get to know the actual people who are living there and the history there. So thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity to create, a bridge between the past, present, and future generations today. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Mahalo nui for your time and effort. And a big thanks to Jose for um, allowing the platform and for you folks, for us to be able to come together. And a wise Hawaiian man once told me, and I think this is relevant to all people, but he told me a quote, Hawaiians vote with their feet. So you all voted with your feet today. Thank you for showing up and being present and caring enough to be here, to be a part of our solution and our continued success. So mahalo nui. Aloha ohiho. Thank you, Jose. Aloha, everyone. Take care.